Wednesday, February the 25th. Lake level is right at 909. It's down a few inches from last week. Water temperature, it depends where you're at on the lake. Took a while for winter to get here, but this past week it was brutally cold. We had quite a bit of snow. So most of the boat ramps and stuff, had been snowpacked. I did get to get out the last 2 days. But the water temperature, 39 to 40. You go further up in the river arms, you will find ice. So you'll have water temperature anywhere from 35 to, about the highest, I think right now is 42 degrees when I came off this afternoon. I was really surprised, for as cold as the water is, that the fish actually bit pretty good. By no means jumping in the boat, but you got to fish slow, dead slow, regardless of what you're fishing. Several different ways I've caught them the last couple days. The main things I've been trying to put together a pattern to catch some big fish, so I've been throwing an Alabama rig and a jerkbait quite a bit. Now I did go out in a few deep spots, and I caught some on an ice fishing jig. They still seem to be on them bluffs. Right out there where the channels swing either into the bluff or away from it. And I've been setting the boat in anywhere from 80 to 100 foot of water using an ice fishing jig, a 7/8 ounce. Now I'm sure you can catch them same fish with a grub or a gusset, but it takes so long for that grub to get down there that deep, and if they'll bite that ice fishing jig, I can get it down there, cover a lot more water. But it seems to be if I can find a fish on the fish finder, and if he'll stay there until my bait gets down there, I can usually catch him. Now they seem to all be about the same size fish. I mean, they're good fat Kentuckys, but they're all 2 1/4 pound range. But the jerkbait fish, I've caught, I think we caught 4 or 5 on it yesterday and probably 6 or 7 on it today. Most of them keepers. Now they seem to be all about the same size too, but I think it's just a matter of time for them big old fish move up into them cedar tops. The bigger fish I've been catching have been on the Alabama rig, just not getting very many bites. I had one, probably close to 7 today, and I had a couple in the 5 pound range yesterday. But I only had like 3 bites on it yesterday and 2 on it today, throwing it quite a bit. Now, most of the A-rig bites have been pretty close to the bottom, anywhere from 30 to 35 foot deep. The exception to that big fish I caught today was suspended up around a hardwood tree about 5 foot deep, over 15 foot of water. But for the most part, the A-rig, I've been having to get it down on bottom and just crawl it along. If you don't like to fish the A-rig, you could take a 4-inch grub, fish it in the same place. I'm fishing it just inside of the main lake points, on deep secondary points. It seems like no matter what I'm fishing right now, whether it be the jerkbait, Alabama rig, or grub, I have to have deep water real close by. Easy access for them fish to come up out of the deeper water up to where they're going to feed. They're not going to move very far this time of year. I've tried a lot of them long gravel flats where they got roll-offs. It doesn't seem to be the ticket. I need deep water where it comes up to shallow water with a real abrupt change. Like a channel swing coming into a bank, whether I'm in the creek or out on the main lake. Now the jerkbaits that have been working good for me, I've been throwing, mainly spros, and mainly because I've got more confidence in them. And when you're only getting, 4, 5, 6 bites a day on it, I have tried a couple Lucky Crafts, but like I said, I've got a little bit more confidence in the Spro. I like the way it throws. One of the key things is when you want to look at your bait, make a cast with it. Crank it in real fast. If the bait's running to the right or to the left, you want to tune that bait so it's running straight, just like you would a crankbait. If it is running left, just bend the eye of the bait to the right. If it's running right, bend the eye of the bait to the left. The reason that's so important, if you don't get the bait to run true, you won't get it down to its maximum depth, which these will get down there about 6 to 8 feet. I weighed them in different places. When that bait is sitting dead still beside a cedar, I don't want that bait floating up. I don't want it just plumb neutral buoyancy. I want it sinking just a little bit, like, maybe every second, maybe going down about an inch or so. I haven't had to let the bait set, real long, about 5, 6 seconds between pauses. Most of the fish are coming on secondary points. The key seems to be cedar trees. Now today was dead slick. We didn't hardly have any wind. It was hard to get a bite when we didn't have any breeze at all. But all we needed was a little bit of ripple coming across some of them areas, and that would trigger the fish to bite. Now naturally we didn't get bit every place we stopped. We had to cover quite a few different spots, which it's hard to cover a lot of water when you're fishing that slow. But once we got a bite, then we just tried to duplicate the bank and get a little wind on that same bank. That seemed to be the trick today, was finding the wind. You'd see a bank that had wind on it. When you'd get over there, the wind seemed like it laid down. Now, in the Alabama rig, I throw several different ones. This one here has got blades, little blades on it. And you'll notice I got a couple of dummy baits. I've got on this one here are just 5-inch grubs. And I've got a couple Swimming Fluke Juniors and a 3.8 Kitech. Seems like whatever plastic bait you're using, you want it to have real good tail action when you're moving the bait slow. That seems to be the key. And the Kitechs and the Swimming Fluke Juniors really have got real good action. Now this one doesn't have any weight on it. It's a composite head. This one here I like Pig Sticker makes. And if you'll notice, the wires are a lot longer on the Pig Sticker one. And personally, I like an Alabama rig with the longer, softer wires, so that as you're reeling that through the water and you pause it, it'll actually flare out a little bit. When you pull it, it'll pull in. It just gives the bait a little bit more action to it. Now usually I throw this on either 20-pound fluorocarbon or 50-pound braid, or even 65-pound braid. When it's real cold out like it was yesterday, where your eyes and stuff are icing up a lot, I like to use the fluorocarbon because the braid carries a lot more water back to the reel, so you have a little bit more problems with your reel guide, your level line freezing up. And also it gets all over your cranking hand, the hand you're holding the rod with, all the water dripping off the line. So if it's real cold like that, I usually use the fluorocarbon. If it's above freezing, where my rod tips and stuff aren't icing up, I'll use the braid. And a lot of it right now, this is the key time. We're starting to see some of them bigger fish come up out of that deeper water. We're not getting as many bites, but the next 2-3 weeks should be the time of year we're going to see some of our trophy-sized fish. Now, it looks like we got... Actually, I was kind of looking forward to this weekend. I had a couple tournaments to fish, but I think they've canceled it because of the incoming weather. Another thing I haven't seen is any dying shad yet. With that water temperature down 39, 40 degrees, we should be seeing some dying shad. But normally you'll find the bait will start to die just as the water temperature has hit the coldest it's going to get, and it starts its return warming back up. That's usually when I start seeing the shad spinning off and dying. So hopefully we'll start getting some warmer weather and start seeing some of that. Even though the water temperature is getting a little colder, the days are getting longer, and the fish know that it's time to start moving up on a lot of these secondary points. I think that's why we've probably caught the fish that we have the last few days on the jerkbait. The bigger ones just aren't up there yet, but it's just a matter of a day, a few days, the right conditions, and they'll move up there. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.